Okay? So you can adjust. You're flexible. All right. If you were doing the listening, take 10 seconds right now. Tell the other person what you liked about what you just heard. While you were doing your practice, I checked in with people in the audience to see if they were able to hear. And they are able to hear if you speak at high volume. If you don't speak at my volume, you have another option. You can come and use the microphone. And there are a couple people in the audience who will go like this. Selena's grandfather is going to wave his cane if he can't hear you. Okay? So if you see the cane being waved back and forth, please just step right back here and step right up to the mic. Okay? Or pump up your volume. That's all you have to do. Okay.
If they're too loud, I'll holler.
Oh, all right. That's fair enough. If they're too loud, Ed will go tone it down a little bit. He hasn't done it to me yet. 3 things I want you to be thinking about as you are listening to one another tonight. Have you noticed the awards chart? Parents, guests, have you noticed the awards chart back here on the floor? Each week, by their vote, there is either a pen given or 2 pens given. Sometimes books have been given as awards. Tonight, there's a new award that's kind of thrown into the mix, but here's what you're listening for. You are listening for someone tonight who is given an outstanding performance. You are also listening for someone tonight who has given a breakthrough talk. Think about what we heard about in session 1, what we've heard about goals and commitments that we've heard throughout our 12 weeks together. You're going to hear those breakthrough talks. You're going to hear that outstanding performance talk. The third thing you're listening for, open your course guides to page 12.7. The highest award for achievement is also an award that will be given by your vote and only your vote this evening. Please read. Let's see, who will be able to project? Go ahead, Jake. Read that little paragraph so that everybody understands.
We will present the highest award for achievement to the one participant who, in the opinion of all the others, best exemplifies the standards, qualities, principles on which this program is based. This is the most prestigious award in the program, a tradition begun in 1912 and continued to this day.
100 years of tradition. The highest award for achievement. Any questions before we get started? Class? Say that again? Yeah. The question was, Jake said, should we introduce ourselves before we actually begin our talk? I think that would be a good idea. In fact, name, and maybe you want to say where you go to school, what year you're in, and then write into your info. And for those of you who are out of school, you don't have to say 20th year or anything like that. You could say where you work. To give us an example of what it is that we're looking for, I've asked
I plan on going to school at Penn Tech in Williamsport, and I'm taking Human Services, a bachelor's degree. And I plan on meeting my professors, and I want to make a good impression on them. I want to be the star student, if you want to say. So my plan and my goal is to, 3 to 6 months from now, I want to meet my professors, meet new people at my new school, and achieve my star student goal.
So what's the one incident that you...
One incident that I'm going to use is...
When did it happen? When did the incident happen over the last 12 weeks?
12 weeks. Actually, I went to my advisory session March 2nd, and I actually switched my majors from early childhood education to human services because taking this class really makes it enjoyable now to talk to people and to interact and really get to know someone and not to be afraid to let someone come into you and inspire you to do something. And
so how was your conversation when you decided to change the...
I actually met with one of the professors for the early childhood major, and I explained to her that I wasn't so sure if I wanted to do education anymore. So I met with the professor from Human Services, and as soon as I explained what I wanted, she's like, wow, this is what you want. Like, you want my major. This is totally you. Like, you're going to take this major, and you're going to love it. And so far, I've gotten my schedule, and I'm so excited for it. I'm going to take sociology and psychology, and I go out for an internship in my first semester, so I'm really, really, really excited.
So what do you want us to do, Sophia?
I want you to have an open mind and not to be afraid to let someone inspire you to change your mind, because you might actually really enjoy it and be really excited about it.
Okay, and one more time, 3 to 6 months from now.
3 to 6 months from now, excuse me. I'm going to be leaving for college and graduating and meeting professors and new friends at college.
Good.
Thank you.
We also call the esteemed five, yes, the esteemed five at the table. In addition to calling their graduate assistants, they have already gone through the class. Angela was actually in the very first class that I taught in 1989. So it's been a little bit of time. We also call them guardian angels. And you can see from Sophia's example why we call them guardian angels. They allow me to work with them, and then the example becomes crystal clear for each and every class member, and they understand exactly what it is that we're looking for in the course of the evening. So just a brief introduction class, and then right into your incident. Okay? I'm going to give the introductions tonight, and I spent some time over the last week going through your breakthrough plans, going over what it was that you've talked about in the 11, now 12 weeks that we've been together, thinking over each and every participant and what I kind of view as a high point. Also, maybe things that you've forgotten along the way. So it's kind of a way in session 12 that we can relive some of the fun that we've had in the classroom together. Our first speaker tonight is truly changing things at the waffle shop. And she's changing things at the waffle shop one coworker at a time. We've heard a variety of different example stories about how Selena has reached out or thrown down a challenge. She also is very astute in talking about this
she said, I work at the waffle shop, and I had just started in the winter here, and I didn't know anybody's name when I walked in there, but after my first day, I just really tried to work at it and tried to remember my coworkers' names. And as I've continued, I've learned more and more of my coworkers' names, and it just makes the workplace a lot better place to work, especially since I can thank a person by using their name, and it just makes that thank you much more personal. I've also seen it a lot with how important names are when I forget that I have my name tag on, and I'll go up to a customer and they'll address me by my name, and I'm just shocked, and it's nice to be addressed by your name, because it is your name. So this is definitely a skill that I've learned through this class, and I'll be using for the rest of my life.
20 seconds.
So what I was going to do is just go out there and learn names. And 3 to 6 months from now, I will be in college and starting at Penn State main campus for elementary education. So that's my goal.
Thank you. As a Dale Carnegie instructor, one of the parts of the code for training for instructors is that we are to encourage class members to become community-minded, to become involved in community things. What I find is I really don't have to do that kind of coaching because it comes from within the class. And our next speaker is one of those community ambassadors. Our next speaker is actually the FFA president. And as an FFA president, one of her promotional activities is that she raises seeing eye dogs. And we had a seeing eye dog in class one time. Yeah, the dog just came right to class, slept through the entire thing, except for when Hannah gave her presentation. And then the dog was very attentive to what Hannah was doing, which I guess was what the dog was supposed to do, and paid no attention to the rest of us. We truly do, and I think Hannah and her position and bringing the dog to class, we need to find our niche, don't we? And when we can find our little niche in the community, it does make for a vibrant community. So let's put our hands together for it.
Hi, my name is Hannah Roth. I'm a junior at Belmont High School, and I'm the FFA president, and I raise seeing eye dogs. My dog is a classmate. One of the really amazing things that I learned in Dale Carnegie was flexibility with people. I work with a lot of people through FFA and 4-H and just everything that I'm involved in. And we did a class, I don't remember which week it was, but we had to stand up in front of everybody and do these crazy things. Like I remember Caleb did the elephant, and he had to do an elephant noise and have a trunk. And that was really embarrassing for everybody I know. Like, who thinks that was embarrassing? Everybody thought it was embarrassing. But we all got through it, and it was so much fun. And I just used that whenever I went to my conferences then for FFA. I was actually just at one, and I stood up in front of everybody, and I passed a bill like we were doing a mock legislative meeting. So I thought that was really cool. I remembered that class, and I was like, I can do this. I got up and I made these silly noises in front of my whole class. I could say something realistic in front of all these people. I thought that was really amazing. So I want you to just be flexible in dealing with people, and it'll show your character, be your benefit. In 3 to 6 months, I could see myself running for the Fair Queen or something.
I am running for the Fair Queen.
You're running for the Fair Queen.
And because you're running for the Fair Queen, what are you doing differently?
I've been able to get up in front of people that I don't know a lot easier.
There we go.
It's a lot more flexible. Like I know there's going to be people that run for Fair Queen that are from all different backgrounds. A lot of them maybe like show cows or like are really involved with their animals. I don't have animals like that, but I still think it would be really cool to be a public figure like that for everybody. So I encourage you to like get out of your realm and do something different.
Okay, thank you. Interesting now we talk about flexibility because our next speaker did do the elephant. Since we're talking about session 9, and session 9 was the session where we looked at are we flexible or are we inflexible? And we discovered that, maybe a little inflexible. But by the end of the evening, it was head, shoulders, knees, and toes, wasn't it? Caleb, our next speaker. Caleb, in his breakthrough plan, which is the plan that each person kind of monitors their progress, and they made certain vision statements in session 1. Caleb says, I just want to be me. That was part of his vision. I just want to be me. And Dale Carnegie tells us that we truly do need to be ourselves. We can't be the people who are seated beside us. We can only be who we are. And I think Caleb found through the 12 weeks that just being me really does create trust, and it creates it pretty quickly. A good first impression, we have to be ourselves, otherwise it does not ring true. And so in session 9, Caleb did take home the award for, you were more than an elephant in that one, I think. But he owned it. He truly was himself throughout the entire exercise. So let's welcome Caleb to the front.
Hello, I'm Caleb Swartz. I'm a junior at Prince Valley High School. One of my most major accomplishments in this class was flexibility and how to deal with my stress. For stress, I actually handled it pretty well this past weekend. I was in Harrisburg at a dairy cow show, and usually when I'm dealing with those things, I'm bouncing off the walls, I'm nervous, I don't hardly eat, I'm so nervous, and this weekend I was not like that at all. I stayed calm and did what I had to do, and with flexibility, I am taking more of a control with my school. I go to my English teacher if I need help, because that's the subject I have trouble with a lot. So my action would be to stand out and be yourself, and benefit would be being more outgoing and meet new friends. Also, in 3 to 6 months, I see myself talking to
I am talking to people.
I am talking to people who I don't know,
Good.
and also talking to people who I do know, and I just haven't talked to them before.
Throughout the 12 weeks that we've been together, we also talk a lot about our communication toolbox. And what kind of tools do we have in that toolbox? Maybe some of them might be a little rusty. Some of them we haven't even discovered before. Last week was kind of a culmination of discovering those tools in our communication toolbox. And the one tool that we stressed last week was an emotional tool. It was talking about inspiration. And our next speaker, if we examine the speech, the talk, the presentation that this speaker gave, there was congruency. And that's what we fight against. We fight against incongruency. We might choose a topic to talk about, but it's not quite the right topic for us. And how can we make it the topic for us? Well, first of all, Dale Carnegie tells us we have to earn the right to talk about it. We have to be excited about the subject. And we have to, in addition to earning the right, excited about the subject, we have to be eager to share the story with an audience. This next speaker had all those in mind. body language. She even danced during her talk. Body language was there. Facial expressions. She showed us an interesting smile. The whole package was congruent. The whole package enabled us then to take certain steps to reach out to some cultures that maybe we're not familiar with. Let's welcome Jillian Rogers. You did. You just did a little twirl.
I'm Jillian Rogers, freshman at Penn State. So I learned a lot in class.
One specific incident.
It was a few days ago at work. It's my incident.
Where do you work?
I work at the deli restaurant in downtown State College. And with one of my tables, everything was going wrong. They ordered beer, and we didn't have it. And then we didn't have their food either that they ordered first. So they ordered soup, and when that came out, it was cold, and there was a paper label.
Oh no!
Halfway through eating the food.
The deli really is a good place.
I know. That has been my worst experience. But so I was very worried about that because when people walk out, the server has to pay for whatever they walked out on. But I used the worry principles from Dale Carnegie to think the worst that could happen would be that they'd walk out. And then I did everything in my ability to make them stay.
20 seconds.
So I just used human relation principles that we've learned, and they stayed and actually ended up tipping me pretty well. So
Action.
use human relation principles,
Benefit.
communicate, and you'll keep people happy even when a few things go wrong.
3 to 6 months.
In 3 to 6 months, I will be starting school again, and I am going to be enthusiastic about my studies, and need a lot of friends through what I've learned in this class.
What about at the deli?
At the deli, I'll still be working there.
Trying to get the orders right.
Yeah. Yep.
You just never know when those principles might really get you out of the tight there. Our next speaker is interested in something that I know nothing about. In fact, I don't even have an interest in robotics. However, our next speaker is so excited about robotics that suddenly I have created a bit of an interest, at least an interest, to listen to her. And when we can be so excited about a topic, we really do compel others to listen to us, do we not? Let's welcome Stacey Ray.
Hello, my name is Stacey Ritt, and I am a 4-H educator in Center County, working with 4-H youth. And yes, I have been working and started a 4-H robotics club that we've been working with since December, and we did get the highest student rookie team at our first competition out of 11 teams, and we placed 9th out of 45 teams our first year. That was really awesome. But that's not really the example that I wanted to talk about. So the example that I wanted to talk about something that I've really learned from this class is the importance of family. At the beginning of the class, we broke our lives down into several different categories. And the area that I wanted to focus on was my family. At the point in time when we started this class, I was an all-day Saturday, and so if I was lucky, I was home on Friday nights and Sundays. I didn't really get to spend much time with my husband or the rest of my family. And then when I was at home, I was also a graduate student, so I was spending time doing my homework or trying to, sort of zone out and have me time. And I was really lacking attention, giving attention to my husband. And I've learned through this class that when I die, all that other stuff is not going to matter. What's going to matter is my relationships with my family. And so I've really started focusing much more on my family, spending meaningful time with my husband and those that I love.
20
and so
seconds.
that is definitely, I would say, the best thing that I've taken out of this class. In 3 to 6 months from now, another area of our lives that we had identified as very important is financial. And so that is the area that I'm really going to concentrate in the next 3 to 6 months. And my husband and I are sitting down, and we did this like about a week ago, and we are going to come up with a way that in the next 3 to 6 months we'll have a 1-month salary combined between the two of us to be able to put into our savings account and then build from there so that, we have something to fall back on if something should happen.
Because throughout the 12 weeks we do make certain commitments and determine which relationship is important to us and which relationship would we like to see a little more cooperation or perhaps an attitudinal change. Intentional living is kind of the way that we look at making these commitments along the way. And this next speaker learned a lot in the last 12 weeks about intentional living. In fact, we have a little mantra. It's the 10 two-letter word, class, if it is to be, it is of me. And I'm glad to see that our next speaker said it right along with us. So I know that Dustin has been listening over the last 12 weeks. So let's welcome to the front of the room the most intentional living person of this class, Dustin Harder.
Hi, I'm Dustin Harder, senior, Bellefonte Area High School. This is my final year. I'm attending CPI. Take my off-piece next week. Hopefully I pass my certifications and all that. I'm currently employed at Tractor Supply. Just got my job last week, and a lot of that had to do with this class. I mean, I never thought to go into retail. I don't like people. I never did before. I mean, I'm kind of used to that. We got a dairy farm in Zion. We milk in 40-some head right now. Jerseys, Brown, Swiss, and Holstein. But
That's too bad.
Go ahead. She said about if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Yeah, I did that Friday. Friday, I was we're doing, through CPI, there's Bellefonte League. We're building the dugouts for it. We're putting the roof on it. And we have 2 different classes. We got the AM class and the PM class working on it. Well, I went down for a full day on Friday, and the AM class messed up. I'm not going to criticize or anything like that. I'm not doing that. But they messed up, and I guess you have to fix it. But of course, like always. So we're ripping these joists off, and I actually slipped off the seal and came down, and my tool belt caught on the scaffolding, and the hole rammed and cut my entire back up. And I had just had enough energy to drop the tool belt and fall to the ground and just laid there. People came around and they were just looking and all that. They didn't know what to do. The teacher comes down, "You okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm in pain, rolled up in a ball." Yeah. You're going to do something. He didn't do anything. So finally he's like, "Can you move?" I'm like, and he goes to help me. I'm just like, "Get back." And I pushed myself up and just kind of stumbled up to my truck and made some phone calls and all that. Called my mother and all that.
20 seconds.
I go up and get some medicine, come back down and finish the roof. I mean, worked through the paint and made sure it was done the right way and not have anybody else. Where I see myself in...
Action. What do you want us to do, Dustin? Based on your example, what should we do?
It's meant to be up to me. Rely on yourself.
Benefit?
Do what you want to do. Do what you feel self-fitted to do. So,
Okay.
benefit is you'll feel better for yourself and help other people feel better about your accomplishments. Where I see myself in 3 to 6 months, probably working on the dairy farm. I know in August I'm going to start hitting some show circuits with my dairy cattle. So we'll see. Possibly working tractor supply steel.
Are you setting any goals for those shows? But you'll have a brand new show box.
Planer goes up.
Pardon me?
Planer goes up.
Our next speaker demonstrated a breakthrough last week. In her report on human relations, she talked about approaching a new girl in school and found out she was able to make a new friend. By use of the human relation principles, becoming a friendlier person, we realized that we have to take a step towards other people. We can't wait all the time for people to come towards us. And if we make that first step, then indeed we are demonstrating friendship. And we have to be a friend in order to have it. Let's welcome to the front of the room, friendly Katie Elder.
Hi, I'm Katie Elder. I'm in 8th grade at Park Horse Middle School. The other night, I was going out to the barn to have a riding lesson, and I was like grooming my horse, getting him ready, and I noticed that his mane was a lot shorter and like nicely cut, and so I made a note to myself that when my trainer came, I would say something about it and like thank her for doing it. So she comes in like 10 minutes before my lesson's about to start. She's like running around the barn. You can tell she's like really stressed because she works all day and then comes home, has to ride her horses and teach lessons. So she was like running around the barn and I was like, okay, I'll just wait until my lesson starts because then she'll just be in the barn. So I go and I'm warming my horse up and she comes in and I mentioned to her and I was like, thank you for doing my horse's mane for me. And you could just see her face light up and she was like, she got so much, you could just see the stress drop out of her and she just got so much happier and like more comfortable. So,
Action.
what I want you to do is like appreciate the things that people do for you and you'll make them feel better and more happy. And in 3 to 6 months, I will be complimenting people on like the small things instead of waiting for something obvious to happen to compliment